Up next on the Sports Hit List.
Me personally, I want the game to keep going. I don't want us to slow down the game every minute and just check every call.
Make the call and you don't like the fact that they made the call late. Oh, you let them play, you don't decide the game at the end. But then if it's a call that they don't make and you think they should have, then it's, oh, you make every call. Which is it?
So they didn't just let them play, they called the foul. When it happens, you call it. That's just...
We are the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Carl Coulange alongside Anthony, Ziggy, filling in for the missing in action.
Why you keep saying filling in? I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. But
I'm
the fact that Greg's
guest.
not here, just because Greg's not here, we have to acknowledge that he's not here.
He's the special guest.
Yes.
I'm the special
Enforcer.
guest. There you go.
Okay, because Greg's not here.
That's
And
it, man.
That's it. Kenny.
Yo.
And we have a special guest, Chris Reimers. Chris, welcome to the show for the first time.
Thank you guys for having me.
How you doing?
Good, I'm good.
Chris is a realtor out there in Long Island.
Yes.
Chris, tell us a little bit about...
Long Island, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan. I have a car, so I go wherever.
You go wherever.
I'm wherever the business is.
Whatever the property is.
Wherever the property is, I'm
Is it
there.
hard? Is it easy?
It's not hard in a sense of physical work. It's just very strenuous on your mind. You have to have a very strong mind
Really?
to do
Dealing
this.
with people.
Dealing with people, dealing with all the situations that can come, and just on an everyday basis, it's no deal's the same. So you're gonna find something different in everything, and that's where the trick is. But you learn and you grow and you get better.
So if anyone out there is looking for a house, an apartment to rent, anything,
Condos?
contact Chris.
Condos, yes.
Condos.
Co-ops.
See, contact Chris is your guy.
Any project apartments?
I don't discriminate.
All right, cool.
I don't discriminate.
Look for like a 2-bedroom, big closet.
I don't discriminate.
Marcy project somewhere around there.
It's my legal obligation to not discriminate.
All right, cool.
I hope
All right,
everybody.
so Chris,
So we got the
what's-
hookup on them project.
So what's your question for us today, man?
Well, after watching the NBA playoffs, because basketball is my big sport, I just see a lot of nonsense going on with the officials. Like even in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals with Westbrook right at the end of the game doing like that moonwalk across the court. I'm like, what's going on
That's not a
with
call,
this?
though.
This is crazy.
Okay, so you want to discuss, is it NBA officials just officiating? And
Well, just in general, because I do watch football, I do watch baseball. I know they've tried to come along and put in the instant replay and do like recaps of everything, but I still feel like that doesn't really do much. And it's like, what are these people getting paid for?
Okay, so as a general question to the table, should referees be reprimanded for missed calls? How are we assessing their calls? And clearly in the NBA playoffs, we've seen a lot of bad calls happen. For example, I believe Game 2 of the semifinals with the Spurs and OKC, there were 5 missed calls in a matter of 10 seconds.
Yep.
Should referees be penalized? You get a bad call, you get suspended, you get fined. How do we go about it, Anthony?
I say no. Why? Because a million missed calls get missed and not, calls being not called throughout the game, but they want to highlight just one call in the last call or whatever and call that the call that decided the
important
game.
call.
It's not important. They're
It
all
is important.
They're all important.
No, not a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't
They're
judge. You
all
can't
important.
judge the beginning of the game
They're all
the same way you judge
We've done
the
this
end of the
before.
game.
Let him finish. and
Every
then you get-
quarter and every part of the game is important. So, like I was saying.
See, he
You
wasn't
threw me
saying
off.
that. Thank you.
I forgot.
Case in point.
Where I left
Move
off. Anyway, like I was saying, all calls are made the same, and they always highlight this one call at the end of a game and say, well, they missed this call. Well, what about the call in the first quarter that they missed? What about the call in the second quarter? What about the third? They only want to highlight 1 or 2 calls and say just because the fans cry out and just to give them their little pacifier and pat them on the back, they call these refs out, and I don't think it's fair to the refs. I think they just need to let the fans cry, let them whine. They're still going to watch. They're not going to turn the TVs. And, everything is what it is. It's human error. Refs are not going to get every call. And
This
then
guy's still
people just
talking?
need to live with it.
Okay, all right.
Let me ask one question to the panel, everybody.
Your mic is not
If
even
you
on.
if you walk right, if you trip right out here, is that a big deal? if you walking across the street and you trip in front of a semi-truck and it runs you over, is that a big deal? So is one trip more important than the other trip? I would think so. So, and that's the beginning of an NBA
That's
game
not the same.
and the end of the
No,
game.
it's not. You
No.
just said two different scenarios. One,
Exactly,
you get ran
two different
over.
scenarios.
No, but a foul
Exactly.
is a foul.
No.
By the way.
A foul is a foul. That's not. You're not saying okay. He just.
But it's not a
flagrant.
matter.
It's
you know what?
not- it's not- it's
Honestly,
not-
honestly, it's not a matter of just the fouls. It's a matter of a travel being called. It's a matter of
A lot of travels don't be called.
It's a matter of just missed calls in general. Like
And they
a lot of
happen
them-
throughout the game.
When something
So why
happens
is-
with 13 seconds left, it can't be made up later. Like, that is it.
Just
There's
like-
no other call.
Just like something that happens on tip-off, it
can
can't
get-
be made up later.
Yes, it can be made
No,
up.
it cannot.
It can be made up 2
No, it
seconds
cannot.
later.
No, it can't.
It can.
It can never
It
be
can.
made up.
It can.
You can never go back and
It can.
erase
All
what
right, this is
happened.
the
can.
Kenny.
No,
This
you
is the
can't.
Kenny and Anthony
What about
segment.
boxing? Like this.
Zig, man. What are your thoughts? Should referees be reprimanded, or do we just go about it the way it is and just leave it?
It's going to be kind of hard to reprimand the referees. You know what I mean? I agree with Anthony in the sense that it's a human error. You know what I mean? And they're constantly traveling in the NBA that are not.
Oh,
you
we
can
see
go
it on Shaq
video-
and the Fool every
there
time.
you go. YouTube is Steph Curry taking 8 steps and no call is being made. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do anything, just you got to take them off the schedule. You can't referee this game based on your previous actions.
They do
until
that.
we see. So if that's then there we go. I mean, what more can you do from them?
I think it's also a matter of we're seeing some of the veteran refs in the NBA retire. You know, Joey Crawford, in the beginning of the year, who's been doing it for almost 40 years, he had an injury, he's gone. You know, Dick Bavetta retired a few years ago. So some of these guys that we're familiar with who make proper calls, who are like the veteran seasoned referees.
But
I
you don't-
wouldn't
even they
say
miss.
that.
I mean,
But you don't think they miss calls
Yeah,
as
they
well?
miss calls.
they do, but
Joe Crawford
but
threw
have we
Tim
seen it
Duncan
this
out the
bad?
game for no
No,
reason.
right,
Just
but I'm
smiling.
saying, no, but I'm saying, but have we seen that throughout the years as bad as we've seen it in this playoffs?
We have. We just
When?
don't remember it. See,
We
that's
don't
the
remember
thing.
it?
We remember the last thing. We don't remember all of the other missed calls. We don't remember the Jordan push-off, even though it's played all day, every day. Nobody talks about that at all. It's okay when that happened.
But
I mean,
when
they
we're
did it.
pushing off-
Remember?
Harden did the other day, and that was okay.
Yeah, but what we remember is the thing that we don't like. And see, if you were rooting for the Thunder or whatever, you probably don't care, like most don't care. But if you were rooting against them, then obviously you care about it. So more than likely, it's subjective. But as far as like the actual calls and non-calls, it just is what it is.
Chris, do you feel? Oh, go ahead.
No.
No, do you feel in the kind of like with the NFL where they have they go to a challenge? Do you feel that something like that would be good in the NBA where a coach could challenge a call?
That's kind of what I was gonna to hint towards, because you know you have the referees in basketball always throwing out technical fouls. Everybody gets a technical, and it's always like for what? Like, what did they do? I kind of feel like the coaches should have some type of leeway to make some type of a call and be like, hey, what happened with that?
Well, technicals
Just to-
are subjective, so that
Exactly.
you can't challenge a subjective call like it has
But
to.
can you challenge? Let's say a player did travel and the ref missed it, clearly like Russell Westbrook did.
Yeah.
Couldn't the coach throw in a challenge call, or better yet, like in umpiring in baseball, don't they have where a coach they go to the instant replay to see if it's a home run, if it's not, kind of thing? Shouldn't they? And again, they have the instant replay center, right, with the NBA now in the last few seconds. My thing is, if there's the replay center is kind of like the fifth referee or the fourth. If they see a missed call, couldn't they call down and say, "Look, that was a missed call. Like it should be something else. You change it."
Basketball's too fluent for stuff like that. It's not like football where you can stop every play and get a replay of the actual play. Like basketball's too fluent to stop the game every other play.
Well, in that play, the game was stopped
to
anyway.
say, but in general, to stop the game every other play to say, "Oh, I."
But they do it in the last
They get
5
it- they
minutes,
get-
though.
No,
do
they
it-
don't. No,
They do
certain
it in the last few
they
seconds.
could have
plays-
parameters.
Certain plays like out of bounds, like if
Out
the
of bounds
ball-
plays, right.
Yeah, but the clock is again. Basketball is fluid.
So that's when you could use it.
No, but you can't because, listen, let's say if you challenge a foul that happened 4 plays before the ball went
I'm not talking
dead.
about. I just said there could be parameters, and in those
Yeah.
parameters, if that came up where the Russell Westbrook play where he traveled when he's calling a timeout, the play is stopped. So you can look at that and address it.
My only issue with that is it's just going to be very time consuming. You know
Where
what I
does it
mean?
stop?
It's
That's
very
all.
time consuming.
I mean,
We
basketball
already
games are
throwing
not
out
that
people
long.
for technicals and all that. It's
Yeah, but if you implemented a system like how they have in NFL, you only have 2 challenges.
But you can.
So it's
that's
not
what
like-
I mean. Like,
So you got to choose them wisely.
I never really got, when I was arguing his idiotic point, I never got to make my
It's only
point.
idiotic because you can't comprehend it.
Yes, that's what dumb people usually say.
No, that's what happens with dumb people. They
No,
can't
yeah, I get it. We can go back and forth with this.
I understand.
All right, so basically, I think it boils down to the integrity of the game. Do these missed calls attack the integrity of the game? Because when you have blatant missed calls, we're not talking about ticky-tack fouls here and there in the first quarter, second quarter, but when it's money time, when there's a few seconds left on the clock, and a blatant missed call, a blatant shot to the head, a blatant travel, a blatant violation that everybody on the planet sees. It's not like you needed replay to see these things. It was everybody saw it. Everybody saw it, and it wasn't addressed. So the thing is, it attacks the integrity of the game. And everybody always says,
No.
can I finish,
Go ahead,
please?
sorry.
And everybody says it's human error. It's human error. This day and age, 21st century, 2016, there's no need for human error. There's too much technology out there where you could help kind of push the human error part of it out of the game with instant replay. Maybe they need a fourth ref on the team, because how is 3 people missing something that 1 million people just saw? So maybe there's not enough eyeballs on the court. So maybe they need to add a fourth ref to look at something. So you got one ref looking at, counting the time to see where the ball player is. You got another ref looking at the feet to see if somebody's violating the out of bounds play, or you have, just basically different eyeballs looking at different things, because 6 isn't enough.
Do you agree with his point, or?
I think so. I think that definitely would help. But realistically, I really think it goes back to, like you said, implementing a system where the human error, it's really not an excuse anymore.
And you can use that with baseball,
And everybody
like
has
with the
this
strike
replay.
zone, the same baseball. The strike zone is subjective to whoever that umpire is. You don't need to have a subjective strike zone. The way technology is, the way everything is. I mean, when you was a kid in the park, you just drew a box on the wall, and that was a strike zone. They could have some sort.
A few years ago, I remember there was a guy who was going for a no-hitter, or he played for the Detroit Tigers, and the ref
Exactly, yes.
he blew the call at the end, and the ump knew it too. Like he was away from a perfect game, and he called it
blew
an
his
out.
perfect
And he called it safe, and it was
happens.
an out. So it happens just like that.
It happens. It's part of the game.
And that's why you could, that part of the game, because he ruined something, a once in a lifetime thing for that particular picture that he can never get back and can never get. And it was very blatant that it can be seen. And it was at the end of the game where you can replay it and say, oh yeah, he was out.
We see it 1,000 times in HD. It's not blatant when somebody is on the field watching somebody run at their fastest and touch a bag at the same time.
Which is where replay comes in.
At the same time, they have to watch
Which is where replay comes in.
There was no replay.
But there is now for plays just like that because of
that.
it.
Was now, but not then.
So what's
back to what
that's
you
what
were
we're
saying
talking about.
before. This is how it doesn't ruin the game, because it's actually part of the game.
Nobody.
Want me to
Listen.
tell you how it's part of the game?
Go ahead.
In every single game, what do we always talk about, especially in baseball that y'all brought up? The unwritten rules. Is it not an unwritten rule that referees must swallow their whistles and let the players play at crunch time?
No.
Is that not an unwritten basketball
Well,
rule?
they call calls at the end of crunch time, right?
Is it not an unwritten basketball rule? You hear it all day, every day, spewed by everybody.
Because they
You
excuse
don't
bad
make
calls.
When they make the call
don't let the
and you
game
don't
decide
yeah
on
when
the
you
final
make the
call.
when they make the call and you don't like the fact that they made the call late, you let them play. You don't decide the game at the end. But then if it's a call that they don't make and you think they should have, then it's you make every call. Which is it?
What are you talking about? It's both.
It depends on the
It's
magnitude.
not. How can it be both?
Let me ask you a question.
wait.
When
You just said they should call
OKC,
everything.
when OKC played Golden State, right, and Steph Curry hit that 3-point at the end of the game, how did they get to the overtime? They called a foul on Kevin Durant for fouling Iguodala shooting a 3-pointer. No? So they didn't just let them play. They called the foul. When it happens, you call it. That's just the way it gets. That's what it's supposed to be.
If it was that egregious enough for them to actually see, but if it was
So it was. So now it has to be egregious. So now it has to be egregious.
Yes.
So Russell Westbrook's walk at the end where he did a Michael Jackson
and
walk,
it wasn't
egregious because
it-
everybody
no,
saw it.
I didn't see it.
That's because you already
To me, it looked like he called timeout.
No disrespect for people.
He called timeout. He called timeout. Did the ref blow the whistle? He called timeout.
Adults are talking.
Did the ref call the whistle? So why are you here?
I think it really just depends on the magnitude of the call. I think if it's like a little bit of a push off or something like that,
The
let him go.
magnitude of the
See,
call.
he just said what I said.
But if somebody goes
was a
up,
big
and
call.
you-
Let him.
That was a big call.
He just said what I said. The magnitude of the call.
That was a big call.
But exactly.
What do you mean?
The slide.
What makes it a big call?
Because they were down by 3,
So?
there was 10 seconds left on the clock,
So?
and he traveled, which would have gave them the ball back, and Stephen Clay could have hit a 3 to go to overtime, and they could have won.
What about the
And
what
that's
about,
how I like
what about the missed call before that one? That didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Chris, welcome to the
So
sport.
only that call matters. That's what you're saying. Only the calls that happen in the fourth quarter
All right,
at the
so-
end of game matters.
So what's the solution? That's the reason why we're discussing this. Should there be a solution? I remember at some point, back in they didn't have the light behind the backboard, but because there were instances
Yeah.
where referees were missing calls at the end of the buzzer, they added that. So because of what's happened, should Adam Silver look at this and say, okay, maybe we should reassess how the referees are done? What's the end solution to this issue? Because there have been multiple calls this year in the 2016 playoffs that have
Just like
decided the
every
game.
year.
'Cause
No,
didn't
it
they do-
hasn't.
Yeah, it has.
No, it
It
hasn't.
has.
No,
It
it
decided
hasn't.
Game 7,
No,
the
it-
Indiana Pacers against Toronto Raptors, where DeRozan pushed off the rebound. It decided that game.
No, it didn't.
It also decided 2 games in the Oklahoma City San Antonio Spurs game.
No, it
Yeah,
didn't.
yes,
It was
did,
a
because Russell
factor, but
Westbrook
it did
was-
not decide
it
the
wasn't a
game.
factor.
Decided game
Every
3, Houston
call-
versus OKC.
Exactly.
Every
GSW.
single call in the game, just like every single missed call in the game, is a factor, but none of them decide the game.
Didn't they,
None of them
remember
decided the
they
game.
did
No.
scientific research to find out that you can't take a shot with less than 0.8 of a second on the clock.
That's not true.
That's
Not true. My eyes seen Fisher hit a shot at 0.4 seconds, so
No, but I'm
I
saying-
don't know what you're talking about.
They say you can't catch and shoot it. Like you can't take it and then go
Yeah,
through the
you could,
motions.
like probably
true.
touch it and
Right.
throw.
So they could form a committee. They could figure out a way where it would make it the process more. I think it's outdated process. I don't think they have enough eyeballs on the court to help them catch certain amount of
No, you
calls.
just have outdated thinking.
So to your point, to wrap up, there's no solution. Just leave it the way it is. Chris, to
boy.
your own question, is there a solution, or is it just leave it? It has to stay the way it is.
I think there's a solution. I don't know exactly what it is, but they have to figure out something where I kind of like how they have it in football with the challenges, whether it be within like the last 5 minutes of the game, whether it be like, you bring on a 4th person for something in the last 2 minutes of the game. That has to be something
Because
else.
even in
'cause-
football, there's a reason why the last 2 minutes of each half, it goes to the replay booth. Like they call it, they scrutinize, they look at everything, and they call it themselves.
But not on subjective calls, right?
I called on everything.
Most of the
What's
calls
a
in
subjective call?
basketball are subjective.
If it's a catch, is that a subjective call? If it's a catch or not? But
and
they go to the
nowadays
roof,
it
they
is.
check to see if it's a catch,
Nowadays
and they say
it is
no.
because they don't even know what a catch is anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think subjective is?
It
Like,
means-
is it a rule? Is it a rule or is it not a rule?
It's
It's
a-
not an interpretation
It's,
of a rule.
it's always that's how they interpret whether it's not
Like a walk is a walk subjective? When
Yeah.
you travel, that's subjective?
Yes, because you have to first maintain when was the last time they dribbled the ball.
You have to
Then
maintain.
you
It's
have
either
to
traveling.
maintain-
Are you taking 3 steps or 2?
When did you take
Are you
those?
sliding or you not?
When did you
Which
take
one
those
is your
3
pivot
steps?
foot? These are rules. These are not
Exactly.
subjective.
Why are you looking at me
These
like
are
that?
rule book.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are you talking? Do you know what subjective means?
Yes. Yes.
Because what you're describing and what it actually means are 2 different things.
How is that?
You just said that a walk is subjective. They have to figure it out. They have to do some kind of equation to
walk
figure
ain't
out
subjective.
what came. If it's
No, I said there's subjective calls.
Ziggy, is there a solution to this problem, or just leave it the way it is?
I think you got to leave it how it is, man. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still gonna watch the game. We're still gonna root for our teams. I feel like it's just too much going on to try to even implement anything right now. Our 4th
So
ref,
the replay sign that they implemented is not too much?
I already
It is
feel
what
that's
it
too
is.
much.
You feel like it is too much?
I already
the
feel
replay
that's too. I mean, for me personally, I want the game to keep going. I don't want us to slow down the game every minute and just check every call. If we're gonna do a 2-minute
That's
solution,
bad.
I mean,
that's
they,
fine.
Yeah,
when do they
something like
check?
that.
Like when at the end of I don't know if it's at the end of
I
the
think
game.
it's at
but
the
when they
final
check
2
this-
minutes, right?
The
Yeah,
final 2 minutes is
final
when
two
they check
minutes,
who
when they check
touched the ball
Yeah,
last and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And that doesn't include
Is that
fouls.
subjective?
What's
What's
that?
that? Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Chris, man, thanks for your question. Thanks for coming to the table.
Thank
And
you
if
guys for
anyone's
having
looking
me.
for houses they should contact you, where should they contact you at?
Oh man, is there a way to like type
I'll
it in?
screenshot it. No, I'll definitely
it's long.
screenshot it. Chris is definitely helping my wife and I look for a place and doing a great job with that. So he's a good guy. All right. Thanks for watching the Sports Hit List. Please continue supporting us. Take care.